Alright guys, welcome back to Fog Wrestling. We just got done watching No Mercy 2001, so we thought the only thing we could do from this point on was rank every match that happened on the card. In my opinion, this has to be one of the, in terms of non top 4 pay-per-views, on paper, this has to be one of the most stacked cards I've ever seen. And I do genuinely believe that one of the best cards I've ever seen that was not one of the top 4 pay-per-views. However, in my opinion, the
didn't live up to
it didn't really live up to the expectations. But I feel like a lot of the Attitude Era stuff was like that. But hey, I thought it was still a good pay-per-view, still decent, still enjoyed it. But I feel like, I don't feel like the matches on the card, I don't think we seen what we could have seen. I think the matches could have been better, and it was perhaps one of the matches that I felt wasn't going to be as good. Actually, it was a lot better than I originally thought. And some of the matches you expected more from, you didn't really get that. So there was 8 matches on the card.
We're not doing the pre-show.
We're not doing. Unfortunately, the network doesn't have the pre-show. To watch the pre-show, we'd probably need to buy the DVD, which isn't on sale, and I don't even know if that would have the pre-show.
And I'd rather spend money on bets than the...
But the pre-show is full of jobbers, right? So fuck it, the pre-show doesn't
Well, the APA is no bad. And Canyon's no bad.
Ooh, better than Canyon. Surely if it was that good, he wouldn't be on the pre-show, but I digress, right? So, we're going to start from the worst match to the best match. For me, worst match had to be...
Well, for both of us, because we...
well, we actually both agreed on this, so I think we both agreed the exact same order, so there's no fighting here, no debates, no fucking falling outs, no nothing. Last, the least match of the night.
The Cage's Joe.
Aye. Who fucking booked this match, Joe? So I'm going to go for number 8. We're both going to go.
Aye, we're both going to go.
The Dudleys versus Big Show and Taijiri. And my reason for this being kind of just a dead match, and basically we've seen the Big Show teaming up with Spike Dudley to take on the Dudleys for the last 3 or 4 weeks in tag team action, and basically all they did here was substitute out Spike for Taijiri. I get Taijiri had the whole thing where the Dudleys powerbomb and Torrie through the table, but to me, I mean, the match just wasn't really that good, if I'm being honest. And yeah, I mean, I like Taijiri backstage and in segments and skits with William Regal, but all that really happened is they took Spike out and put Taijiri in. We'd seen this match 3 or 4 times leading into this,
and that's no joke.
I mean, it was your typical match. Taijiri gets isolated, Big Show gets tagged in, he gets the fucking upper hand, and then Dudley's nailed the 3D and win. So
I just feel like there could have been a lot of other tag teams that could have been in this match, bar those 2.
Yep.
And it didn't really further anything. It was no man's land.
And the fact I felt the Dudleys were never in any danger of losing.
And Big Show didn't come out dressed as Taijiri, which was a bit of a disappointment.
Aye. Or Taijiri didn't come out dressed as Big Show. I'm not sure which one I would rather. But I don't know. I felt like... I know they were in a match on this card, but you felt, I don't know, I thought Torrie Wilson and Stacy Kiebler should have been at ringside, or I don't know. Could have maybe got...
I think they would have been, if they were in a match.
Potentially could have got, another table spot, and that could have led to the finish. Maybe that's how the Big Show and Taijiri could have lost. Taijiri could have saved Torrie from going through the table again, and then he could have went through the table. I don't know. I just felt, it was just a basic tag team match. I felt like, considering the storyline, I felt like they could have used Torrie Wilson in this match to, since basically that's what they're fighting over. So
Big Show's fucking boring.
Yes, I mean, the best big man in WWE.
How does this guy go from this? I mean, this isn't even a feud. He feels like the fifth wheel or something.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just there. He's like made a mockery.
I've never liked Big Show, to be honest. And I've never liked him. Probably never will. He's alright.
Saying you've never liked him sounds like you hate him.
I don't hate him, but
he's just a guy that was there.
Aye,
no one tuned in to see Big Show.
What I will say is,
the best thing he did was get knocked out by Floyd Mayweather.
See if Big Show was 280, 6'4", he would be a mid-carder for life.
It'd be worse than Test.
Right? I mean, I look at JBL, and I didn't think it's Bradshaw. I mean, the APA was alright, but you look at JBL, great fucking character. I mean, if Big Show, and not that JBL's small, but if Big Show was JBL size, or a Test or something, who are big guys, but obviously not, you know, that, like, fucking, the Freak Show size is the Big Show. I don't think he'd have led to much.
Point is, Big Show's pish, and
Look, I don't want to hate on Big Show, but fuck him, right? He's pretty much, I think, it would take a lot for him to be on a card that he ain't right in the bottom.
Like, say to me, he came in as WCW as like a main eventer, and he's never went anywhere but the big guy who people face.
Yeah.
And when you're that size, that's what you're limited to. But anyway, moving on to the next match, because we've wasted about 6 minutes talking about this fucking match. Right, and the match that we've seen in the previous weeks again.
The other tag team match, Hardys versus Hurricane and Lance Storm. The reason I thought this one was better is just because A, it was quicker, B, it started the show, and Big Show isn't in it. So I mean, nah, I'm not hating on Big Show, but I just felt this match flowed better. You know, it was quicker, and I enjoyed the Hurricane.
It would be hard to get a bad match out of these four.
Yeah. Even though Lance Storm is incredibly boring, his boringness kind of works. When you see Lance Storm, you kind of make fun of his boringness, but when you see Big Show, you kind of like, get off my screen boring, you know what I mean? So, and I like the Hurricane, so I mean, there you go.
And the Hardys return to WCW.
WCW.
There's that many belts in circulation.
Yeah,
and too bad the Alliance
it's like hyperinflation. Like, you know what I mean? Belts are worthless at this stage. There's just that many that winning them doesn't mean shit. I mean, by the end of next week, Jericho could have about, no spoilers here, but Jericho could have about 10 belts. Anyway, moving on to the next match, we both put in Kiebler versus Torrie Wilson. It was a short match.
And people on paper, this was fucking Walt Cults to be putting this in at 8th and hating on it.
I mean, no one was watching this for technical ability. And GR's commentary was good, let's be honest. If GR was commentating this match in 2020, he'd be fucking on the sex offenders register list, you know what I mean?
Good old JR, good old nonsense.
You know what I mean? But fuck, the guy's great. It was a good match. Well, it was good for what, fucking 3 minutes, you know what I mean? Good for what it was. So.
Doesn't need to go half an hour.
The way I see it,
you leave your half an hour matches to the fucking stars.
If I had see at the free match you've mentioned, see if I had if you said right you have to rewatch another one, it'd be this one all day long. So that's why it's better than the other two.
It definitely wouldn't be the Big Show one.
No, unless you could skim 9 minutes after 10 that it took to finish.
How long was that? That was fucking.
It was over 10 minutes, like fucking. 10 minutes of Big Show. It was about 9 minutes of Big Show on the apron going, you know what I mean, raising his hand in the air. For fucking, fuck him, right? He's alright. I like the Big Show. He's alright. He's a good guy.
He's pish.
It's just no. I would honestly say this. I don't want to keep talking about him, but I'd say this is his worst era. I think the Big Show in that. I don't think he was as bad in the Ruthless Aggression era, or even late PG era. I don't think he was as bad on SmackDown when he was feuding with Mark Henry and shit and Daniel Bryan. I don't think he was as bad when he was on ECW. You know, when fucking Heyman's champ. I don't think he was as bad when he was like on Raw teaming with Kane in the tag titles, or I don't know. To me, this is the worst Big Show we've seen. I don't even think he was that bad when he first came into it. I don't think when he was like, you know, Barton Austin from McMahon and then teaming up with Taker. I think this is, but then he kind of disappeared. Then he came back. He's just
like, if we're gonna talk about Big Show, let's just leave it to another fid.
I might make a video on Big Show.
So let's get into match 5.
Right, up next, a match that you probably, on paper, it could have been potentially the best match tonight, but for me, it just wasn't.
These two had a match. Was it not these two had a match like a couple of months ago? In the Rock and all, and Vince got involved?
That was great.
It was a street fight?
On SmackDown.
No, it was Raw.
Oh, Raw, but there was loads of interference, and it was, anyway, in case we just gave it away there.
But see, that proves to me, I think that's why the Attitude Era.
Because it was fully interference and stuff, and exciting.
But this match was never going to have that interference.
No.
Because they saved that for later on.
Anyway, speaking of that match, it was Booker T versus Undertaker. I thought it was just a slow-paced match, and to me, Undertaker was never going to lose. And when I go into a match knowing that someone's not going to lose, it does take the excitement away. When the match is like undecided, 50-50, it's a lot better than when basically, you know, Booker T's not going to go over here. Didn't he? And
he actually dominated a bit.
He kind of did. In the end, Taker caught him with the last ride from the turnbuckle in the corner. But again, not that. Well, I don't know. I was going to compare Taker to Big Show, but I apologise. I'm not going to do that. But I would, in terms of matches, I'd say this is Taker's worst run. I'd say from his return at Judgment Day to, I'd say probably till he turns into, like, you know, Big Evil. I'd say this is Taker's worst run of matches. I know he was out of shape when he first came back and he was like heavy, but I mean, you just look at Taker. I think he had a lot better matches than like.
I'd say the stuff with Triple H and Austin was good, but apart from that, everything else has been a bit.
Oh, I stuff.
And the street fight with Booker T that we mentioned was kind of just due to it's not.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that's it. So this match number 5.
And Booker T, they've done the guy dirty.
Yeah, I mean, ever since he came in, he's barely picked up a win.
What harm would it have done if Taker lost here? If Test can beat Kane,
well, not much because he's going to go over in the Survivor Series match.
See,
so.
That's what I don't get. If the Alliance are going to win all the fucking belts, and they'll lose all the belts, just can they not have some fucking wins?
Yeah.
I mean, if the most over guy they've got from WCW can't pick up a win over a guy who's not at the top.
Yeah. And if the WWF's going over at Survivor Series, would you not book them going strong going into?
Yeah, but anyway, next up, ladder match, Christian. I was supposed to say Christian Cage. Christian against Edge.
Ladder match. I mean, it was good, but I mean, over on Raw, you have people congratulating Edge, saying one of the best ladder matches ever. I suppose at this stage there hadn't been a lot of ladder matches, so.
But name one that was worse.
That one with Bret Hart in it.
Bret was in a ladder match?
Aye.
Which one?
Well, Michelle Michaels.
Aye.
And then what's the one where there was like it was a ladder match, but it was only like one side of the ladder, and it was like balancing on a scaffold. And
oh, I'm talking WWE. I wasn't WWE.
Was it not? No.
I was fucking. I can't remember it.
I think Bret had another ladder match with someone that wasn't Michaels, as well.
Well, point is, right. I mean, I'm thinking of the attitude there. You've got like Benoit, Jericho. You've got the triangle ladder match. You've got McMahon's against Austin.
Oh, I'm thinking one-on-one ladder matches. I'd say Jericho. Benoit was better than this.
Well, obviously. I just think this one was awful slow paced. Like, there's a point in the middle of the match where they both did a move off it, the neck, and then they both went straight back up and did another move.
Yeah, Edge did his like Edge-o-matic pish thing, and then Christian went and done his reverse neck break. It was like, here, you've done your signature move off a ladder, so I need to do mine.
It would work if
it
it was like a 6-man match.
Aye, and there's someone else to come take the place,
but no. The Concerto was a good finish.
Yeah, the Concerto was good, aye.
But again, on paper and the build-up was much better than the actual match.
Aye, the storyline.
Why did you call me first?
The storyline was fucking great, heading into this, but the match didn't really deliver. And considering these two have had so many great matches in TLC ladder matches, I kind of expected more. But
no disrespect to them, but if you think of those matches, it's more the Hardys and the Dudleys.
Yeah, you don't really recall cheers,
especially Christian. Edge has got the spears and all.
Yeah.
What's Christian really done?
I know you don't really. You think of table spots, ladder spots. You don't really think, oh, chair spots. Don't get me wrong. Like fucking, it's always cool seeing someone get smashed their brains. Like like when Rock smashed Foley's brains in the Royal Rumble. But anyway, regardless.
Moving up next, Test versus Kane.
This match was good, 50-50, quick. It was only 10 minutes. Felt a lot longer, but I mean normally.
Two big guys.
Could have went either way.
With Nick Patrick being a bit
crooked referee.
Yep.
And man, just a good match. Test won. I kind of felt Test was going to win. Like, I wasn't sure, but I thought because they've booked Test pretty strong. Plus the fact I didn't think both Test and Booker
it wasn't 100% clean, but it wasn't like he looked weak in winning, and Kane didn't look weak.
Yeah, I mean it was a good finish because Kane didn't lose clean, but Test didn't necessarily cheat to win either. It was kind of similar to the finish of the match that we're going to talk about at the end, I think. Or
yes,
maybe not exactly that, but anyway, this was good. And considering, again, I would say this is probably Kane's worst run for matches. So I wasn't really expecting a good match.
Yeah.
And I think he put on a good match and Test.
But again, I mean, we've seen a lot of. We haven't seen these singles matches, but we've also seen a lot of like Booker T and Test against Kane and Undertaker in previous weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And going into the next match, I'm pretty sure we
got that on Raw.
Yeah.
After the pay-per-view, it was another tag team match.
I know.
It's a bit overdone, like, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, I enjoy it.
That's just due to the lack of people they've got. And then into the next match, you've got.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. See, if they don't have testing Booker T versus Kane and who are they going to have?
And they've already did Canyon.
Fucking Chavo.
And they've already did DDP.
Chavo and Hugh Morris against Kane and I mean, who's going to buy? I mean, they should have. Like, I'm enjoying this period. Like, I think it's great, but I mean, they should have built up the fucking more guys. And
Mike Awesome and all.
like Michael.
Why did they bring in Chronic and make them seem like a threat?
I thought Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire were a good tag team.
I know.
But I mean, they got fucking jobbed out. I mean, they were better than Chronic. Yeah, the Chronic got more of a serious match against the Brothers of Destruction.
That was weird with Stevie Richards. But anyway, talk about another match. Triple threat.
So normally, I think the last couple of pay-per-views we've done, I think I've gave Austin the best match of the night. Austin and Angle. They've been delivering. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yep.
But I don't know. This triple threats are weird. They either work really good or they don't.
But it's another case of we've already seen it a lot of times. But Van Damme's one in there.
And, yeah, and this was I'd expect this one to go long. This only went 14, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was probably...
And you were kind of just waiting for someone to get involved.
In the last 3 or 4 minutes was interference for the McMahons. Don't get me wrong, McMahon came out, some of his facial expressions were great.
And the whole run against Shane.
He runs and batters Shane over the table. I'm surprised he didn't tear both his quads. Smashed Austin in the back of the head, busted him open with a chair.
Concussed.
Looked like RVD was going to win at one point. Angle broke up the frog splash, and then when Angle was on the outside, Shane came in and fucking started battering Angle, just tossing him about like a cruiserweight. That's what it meant.
But see, to me, Van Damme was just putting this match to eat the pin.
I would say it was quite that obvious. Like, 'cause, I mean,
well, no, did I not say he's going to eat the pin? And like as soon as they announced it.
You did, but I mean, it's not as if there was no storyline. I mean, there was clearly like tension between RVD and Austin. I think they built this match up great.
I know, but could you imagine if Austin pinned Angle? It'd been like, well, what literally is just the same as what's happened.
Yeah, well, I think we always knew RVD was gonna. The only thing I could have seen was RVD getting pinned by Angle.
Maybe Angle getting concussed. No, Austin getting concussed made the match short.
That could have been it. That could have been it. Or what
I think he's legit concussed. Like,
what about if Angle pinned RVD and RVD cost Austin the title? That could have. Or what if RVD pinned Angle?
They could have done that, but they've switched the belts that many times.
What if RVD pins Angle and RVD's like, you know, to me this was the most predictable ending, and the ending where there's the least you can do from it, if you know what I mean. Because there's like tension between RVD and Austin, and like, well, RVD doesn't want to be the leader, but like Austin's kind of feels like he's under threat anyway. So to me, the probably the worst finish in this match is Austin beating RVD, and that's the one they went with. I think
it makes Van Damme not good enough now to step up to Austin.
I think every other outcome would have been better than this one. If Austin beat Angle, they could have had, like, you know, if Austin and RVD worked the majority of the match in a tag team against Angle, and then towards the end, like, maybe RVD hits the frog splash on Angle, and Austin stuns RVD, then pins Angle. Do you know what I mean? You could have RVD had Angle beat, and Austin kind of stole it from him, and then it was 2-on-1 against Angle, so Angle doesn't look weak either. Or like I said, you could have, I mean, if RVD pinned Angle, he's the champ in the alliance, but he didn't beat Austin, and Austin's raging. Or, I mean, you could have RVD beat Austin, but then I don't know how that really goes down.
Yeah.
Or you could have Angle pin RVD and cost Austin the belt, and then the tension between Austin's even more pissed at RVD. I just think that the result they went with, all the results, I think this is the one that just, there's not much to go for.
But to me, I never seen anything else happening.
Well, I know, but we've watched, since this happened, we've watched a full Raw and about 2/3 of SmackDown, and the whole RVD Austin beef looks to be dead.
Yeah.
So unless that's what they wanted, unless that's they intended to end it here at this pay-per-view, that's what I mean. I think Austin beating RVD does end it here. So maybe that's why they went with Austin beating RVD. Because I guess when you think about it, heading into the Survivor Series, they don't really want Austin and RVD to be at each other's throats.
Yeah, it was just a wee subplot to keep it.
But if you wanted to continue it, you know what I mean, further then this is not the result you would have went with. But anyway, like I said, good match.
It's a shame that Van Damme won't get another title match till at the Chamber.
Maybe.
He might get the odd one.
I think he gets one against Triple H on Raw, but anyway. It is what it is, guys.
Right, main event. Well, not main event. Well,
Match of the night. I mean, this guy hasn't been in the main event in about fucking 4 months.
Yeah, The Rock's just pish.
I mean, he does. He seems like like a lot of times you're halfway through the shows and you haven't even seen him, and then it'll be like, oh, The Rock's fighting next. You're like, what? I mean, you don't even know about it. But anyway, Rock.
He's not even using any of his catchphrases. He just randomly appears backstage.
I know, it's very weird. Rock versus Y2J for the belt. Y2J defeats The Rock, and they've been talking about this match since it aired as one of the best WCW title matches of all time. I could believe that because there's not many in WCW I think would put on a better match, put it that way.
And it wasn't even particularly that great.
I liked it, but I wouldn't say oh fucking great, it's full time, like. But
what's that tell you about WCW?
yeah, pretty pish.
It's fucking, like, no offense to Hogan, but he's the guy that held the belt for the majority of the time.
No, Hogan's never really had the best match Hogan's had is against The Rock, and that's because the fucking crowd's on fire. Like, I think this match is weird because Jericho kind of dominated most of it, and The Rock never had Jericho beat. There's no way The Rock comes out of this looking good. Now you can claim, he only lost because of the steel chair, but before Stephanie came down, The Rock was about to reach for the ropes and Y2J pulled him to the middle of the ring. Normally when that happens in a submission, you're beat.
No, you're humped.
If you're about to grab for the ropes and the guy pulls you back into 9 times out of 10, that's you tapping it.
And see, but that's another thing. They weren't really saying, oh, she's coming out to cause Jericho.
Yeah.
They were saying it as, no, oh, she's coming out just to cause both of them.
Yeah, even though I think she was coming out to cause Jericho, because why would you come out when Jericho's got the fucking finisher on? So Stephanie did kind of come out to help The Rock, even though in the end
it's as if The Rock had Jericho beat and Jericho won, and that's the way.
That's not what happened. I mean,
that's the way it's portrayed, though.
But Jericho had The Rock beat, and then Jericho ended up beating him anyway, even though Stephanie came out to cost Jericho. So to me, I don't know how. And then The Rock's kind of after it. You've kind of got a storyline where The Rock keeps handing him a fucking chair as if this is the only reason you beat me, mate. I mean, not really. Technically, he didn't use the chair, and he had you beat before Stephanie brought the chair out, so fuck, I don't know. The Rock just, I don't know, man. Maybe Vince is pissed at him because he went to do the Scorpion King and he's like, right, I'm going to job you out here, but
I think the days of The Rock feeling invincible are gone.
Yeah, the only time he ever really felt invincible when Austin was out, to be fair, with the neck injury. But anyway, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. Definitely match of the night. Meltzer would probably say it's pish because it's not too squints for Japan, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was
God damn.
good stuff. So there you go. So that's our order from No Mercy. Let us know what you thought down below. What was your order? And like I said, it was a good show. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, a lot of the matches were good. Well, most of the matches were good, and some of the matches were alright, enjoyable to watch. But going into this show, I'm thinking, look, man, this card's stacked. You know what I mean? This could be one of the best, like, non-Big Four pay-per-views ever, and it just didn't really deliver. But still, solid pay-per-view. It was definitely a plus, positive.
Never get a bad attitude out of pay-per-view.
Nope, never. Even the shitey throwaway ones in the UK are decent. But anyway, guys, that's it. Let us know what your thoughts are down below. And tell
what
me.
would you give it a set? What, out of
10?
Out of 7.
Probably a 7.
Yeah, I'd say it was average.
I'd give it a 7.
And I think for attitude hour, average is about a 7.
Yeah.
It's not like you're 6 or a 5.
I mean, see if you gave a pay-per-view a 7 today, it would fucking be amazing. It would need to be amazing.
And that's the bottom line.
Anyway, till next time.
Peace.